Hi everybody and welcome to the uptrend chart analysis thread. What I'm going to do is every couple of days I'm going to put out a request to see if you want any chart analysis done or for some technical analysis done on some of the charts, and I did it the other day and I put a post, a link down below so you can see exactly what post it's on, and I'll do a technical analysis on some of the charts. Now I've got 5 here to go through, so we'll go through them straight away, and I've not done the analysis on this, so I'm just doing this blind, as in I've not looked at them. I looked at them before and doing it in depth. Now what I'm a fan of is simple technical analysis. That's all you need for technical analysis. Don't go too far overboard. You just need some simple technical analysis skills, and hopefully we'll teach you that on the kind of way along here as I'm doing this technical analysis for you. First thing we have to look at is the trading kind of timeline that you're looking at. Just now we're on EnjoinCoin. This was one of the ones requested, and we'll look at that on the 4-hour time frame. Now when we look on the 4-hour time frame, we can see here as kind of went way up from where it was. It's kind of almost kind of went up 100%, 96, 94% or something over the last kind of couple of days. So looking at that, then you'd say I'm not going to get into EnjoinCoin, it just went up too quickly. However, there's a few things we can look at on technical analysis to kind of take the bigger look at the bigger picture from this. So first thing we're going to do is look at the weekly view of this. So you can see here, this is a weekly view of EnjoinCoin, and you can see here when you look at it from this point of view, it doesn't look that big of a rise where it's gone. It went to 1464 or something the other day, but it doesn't look like a huge rise compared to where it's been in the past and historically, and kind of looking at the all-time high as well, which is 6,409. So we have to look at the bigger picture, and then we have to, so I always say look at the macro and look at the micro at the same time. The micro tells you what's going to happen on the macro, and the macro is this big picture. And we've got a good chart on the weekly for EnjoinCoin. You can see here, so whenever you're looking at a chart, the first thing you want to do is put a baseline in, and the baseline I'm going to put in is a horizontal line on TradingView. So this is a recent kind of low price, and this is going to act as support. So we're going to see here, so this is a baseline, it's in red. In fact, I'll put the baseline in a different color. Settings, we've got it in red just now, put it more visible. We'll say the baseline is going to be yellow. So that's the baseline. How do we get the baseline? Well, we're looking at the baseline, we're looking at the bottom of where it's been recently and historical bottoms as well. So we'll probably put the baseline just a little bit down below here. So you've got the wicks here as well. They would count as price action. So we've got historical price line here, a price action here, here as well. So if we kind of highlight these, this area, this area, and this area, that's formed what we know as kind of bottom price, and it's kind of bounced off there a couple of times. So you can see historically, and we're going all the way back to 2017. So this is a good base price for EnjoinCoin. So we've got a good base price of 548. Now it's gone up since then, it's doubled in price since then, but it did double, it went up to 6,427 back in March 2019. Now obviously when you look in the charts as well, you want to keep an eye on or thinking about the fundamentals. What's changed fundamentally about EnjoinCoin as well? Well, you know they've had a couple of partnerships recently as well, so that's going to do it standing in good stead as well. The team's still doing well, they're still active on GitHub. You're going to have to look at the fundamentals as well, but purely from a charting point of view, this is looking good just now. On the weekly, it's coming up for a crossover. Now I've got these two lines as the 7 EMA and the 50 EMA, that's the exponential moving averages. I like the 7 and the 50. I don't like the 50, the 100 and the 200. That's traditional stock market, what they use, and it's simple moving averages they use. Although you can still use them in crypto, a lot of people still use them, but crypto is faster moving. So I like the 7 EMA, which is really fast, and the 50 EMA, which is a slower timeline. From this, so you can see it's coming up to meet it. So the next thing we're going to do is go down to the daily. So we'll go down to the daily view instead of the weekly view, and I'll put that over here, and we'll go down to the daily. What's happening on the daily? And this is the chart I most use, is the daily chart. We'll get rid of that. So this is one I mostly use, and I like this for purely, you can just use this chart alone, the daily, and just use the two crossovers, the 70 EMA and the 50 EMA. If that's all you did was just use those two indicators and the crossover is here at around about 723. As soon as it crosses over, you wouldn't have really got in until around 751. Then that's when you buy. You put an entry price in, that'd be your entry price when it crossed over. And when it crosses down, the way the 70 EMA crosses down over the 50 EMA, that would be when you actually sell. So we'll look at some of them historically for EnjoinCoin. So historically, we can see here back on the 20th of February, it crossed over at 908. You probably wouldn't have got in until we're 952, but then it went up 566%. Now, when it goes up that much, what can you do when you're trading? Well, what you can do is actually put a moving stop loss in. So when it goes up, say 30%, put your stop loss in about 10%. And that's what I would kind of do and keep on moving it up. So if it went right up, you probably get stopped out here once it went up 100% or so. Went up 245% there, and that was within a day. So you could put your stop loss and just keep it moving up, say about 10 or 20% when it's moving up that quickly. Or what the other thing you can do is just wait on it crossing back down over to exit. Now when you're doing an exit position for the moving average, what I would use is the next ladder down, or the next step down. So your next step down from a daily is a 4 hourly. You could use a 12 hourly or a 6 hourly, but I like to use a 4 hourly. So get in on the daily, get out on the 4 hourly. Entry on the daily, exit on the 4 hourly. So we can see here on the 20th of February 2019, we'll see what happens for the 4 hourly. So 20th of February we'll go back to and see what happens on the 4 hourly. I need to go all the way back. So it crossed over here, it crossed over earlier on the 4 hourly, but we don't want to use that, so we'd exit on the 4 hourly, which is 4193. So remember that figure, 4193. So we're going to exit here and we'll go back to the daily. And remember, we entered on the daily at round about this price, 910, and we're going to exit up where this purple line is, round about here. So you'd have gained a 371%. So that's how you time your entries and your exits. So enter on the daily, exit on the 4 hourly. And that's my suggestion. Okay, so how is EnjoinCoin looking for today? That was just a kind of quick look at how I do kind of technical analysis and look at trading as well. So how's it looking today? It's still looking good. It's crossed over on the daily here at 729. It went all the way up to 1470 to get nearly 100%, but it's coming back down. So if it's coming back down, then you've got to ask yourself, when can I get back in after it's come back down? This is when we use the Fibonacci retracement. And I like to use the Fibonacci retracement from the crossover. So look at the crossover. And there we put it at the very top. And when it comes back down, we can look at support levels. So a support level, the next support level here is going to be around about 1096 or 1096. And the golden ratio, this is where a lot of them kind of come down to. The golden ratio for EnjoinCoin is going to be 1008. So if you're looking to get back in to EnjoinCoin after maybe taking a profit, if you really like the long-term aspects and you're looking for another entry, then I would look at the 50% and the 61.8% for this. So this looks as if it's got some way to go to fall down, to come back down a wee bit. But it did come down to the 50% level, 1096, and it's started moving up again. So then we can come down and look at the micro view, which is a 4 hour. So micro view still looks good. So the 4 hourly, we'll just get rid of this. So on the 4 hourly you can see the 7 EMA is still above the 50 EMA, and what it looks like it's trying to do is come down to this level on the 50 EMA at 1098. So a lot of the time we get a bounce on the 50 EMA when it comes back down after a big kind of surge like this. So if you're looking for an entry, I'd probably wait until and put an order in for around about the 1100 mark just to make sure you get in, because fundamentally EnjoinCoin is going to be a really good strong coin, or a really good project for the long term, and I think it's a brilliant project for the long term. It's in the gaming side of things and it just looks amazing. So that's EnjoinCoin. Well, I'm not going to do that with every single one of them here. It was just to give you an overview of how I do the technical analysis for it. Okay, let's look at the next one, which is Ethereum. And we're going to use the Satoshi value of Ethereum. We're not going to use the dollar value, because the dollar value is really tied to the kind of Bitcoin value. So if Bitcoin goes down, Ethereum automatically goes down as well. Same with any other project as well. So we're always going to look at the Satoshi value. Okay, Ethereum. We're going to look at the bigger picture. We'll look on the weekly. Now, to me, Ethereum, this represents a brilliant, fantastic opportunity, because it's close to its all-time low. Satoshi value-wise, we're talking about, not dollar value. So Satoshi value did get down to, on the 2nd of September, got down to 1.62 million Satoshi. And it crossed down on the weekly, the 7 EMA crossed down on the weekly at 7.04. So this is where you should have went short, or even on the daily you could have went short as well. And you can short Ethereum as well. So just now it doesn't look all that good for Ethereum. However, having said that, if you look at the fundamentals again, what's happening fundamentally with Ethereum, you've got the DeFi space up and coming. You get more and more dApps in the DeFi space, and using Ethereum platform as well. I think about 80% of the dApps that are being used in the kind of DeFi space are using Ethereum. That could change in the future. I don't think it is going to change. You've got Istanbul, the hard fork is already out. You've got the staking coming for Ethereum as well. Obviously that's what that's all about. The hard forks and everything that's coming with Ethereum, I think is going to be fantastic. So to me, this represents a brilliant opportunity to get back into Ethereum. But that's my opinion. Do your own research. So we'll look at that's the macro view. So it doesn't look good chart wise, but fundamentally I think this is a brilliant time to get in. On the daily, we've got the 7 EMA crossing down over the 50 EMA, so again not a good sign for Ethereum at the moment, so not a good entry price at the moment. And we'll go down to the 4 hourly, and we're coming up for a crossover. If you can see here, this 7 EMA line is coming up for a crossover on the 50 EMA, so that's when to possibly enter. If you're looking for a quick entry, or if you're looking for a more assured entry, I'd wait on the daily crossing over again. The 7 EMA crossing over the 50 EMA. It's done a couple of times and failed a couple of times, but it would be a more confident entry I would get in on the daily rather than 4 hourly. But if you're looking to scalp, you can do it on the 4 hourly as well. You can see it crossed down at 2.1 million. We're at 1.9 million just now, so it's fallen on the crossover by about 6%. So not that much. So I'd probably wait on the daily before you're looking for the entry. I would wait on the daily crossing back up over the 50 EMA and then go in there. And you can see here as well, I don't know if you can see this, but we're going to get, I'll just get the settings there, change the settings to not extend that line. Just now, this is, you're getting a symmetrical triangle here. I'm going to go down here, or you could, depends on where you're going to put it. Right, so this is this symmetrical triangle you're getting just now for Ethereum, and just to make this look good, and you can see that much clearer here. So this is on the daily. We've got the symmetrical triangle, just push that up a wee bit, and we've got the 2 touch points here and here for the support line. You've got the 2 touch points here and here for the resistance line, and so we're at the bottom of this symmetrical triangle. Now if it breaks below here, you've got 2 scenarios that could happen here. Obviously you could go down further, or if it breaks out of the symmetrical triangle, you could go up the way. What's it more likely to do? Looks like it could bounce off the support line and go back up and hopefully break out of this triangle, but at least you know it's probably going to get to 2.1 million Satoshi, which is about 6% away from here. So you've got this symmetrical triangle, which is kind of bullish. You could say it's bullish, and that's a bullish scenario for it as well, but it's also could be a bearish scenario if it breaks below this. So a lot of traders, what they would do is they would wait on a breakout to either side. So if it breaks out below the symmetrical triangle, you would short it. If it breaks out above the symmetrical triangle, you would long it. So at the moment it's looking still bearish for Ethereum just now if you're looking for an entry price. So I wouldn't enter just now. Long term, fantastic opportunity to accumulate at these prices. Okay, the next one that was requested was Nano, and again we're going to do Nano BTC. So we've got in the daily, we're going to take these out. These are the ones I've looked at before, so take these out just now, and we're going to put a baseline in. So remember, always put your baseline in so you know where you are. I'm going to put a baseline in here. That's the yellow. So you can see we've got support here, quite clear support, and this is going to be used for your baseline. And we're going to go macro again, and we'll go to the weekly. So we can see we're at the all-time low for Nano just now. I'm going to take this out. So we're at the all-time low for Nano. And what we also have here on the weekly, and once you start doing technical analysis, you'll see these kind of patterns almost immediately. You've got what's called a descending triangle. A descending triangle, just put another line here just so you see it quite clearly. I'll put it over the yellow. So this is on a weekly, has been descending for quite a while now, from 35,000 all the way down to 11,000. So we've got a triangle here, it's coming down. We've got the two touch points here, we've got a baseline here, as well as strong support. If it breaks out of here, that's when to buy Nano. It looks as if it is going to break out. It's going to try and break out from here. If it breaks to the downside below this baseline, then that is an extremely bearish sign, and it will go down even further, which is not good for Nano just now. It's 11,150 at the moment. But if we look at the daily, I'm going to look at the daily and zoom in there, so you can still see this triangular structure. Here the long-term triangular structure as well, and within that you can see kind of micro triangle structures as well. You've got a symmetrical triangle here and here as well, but we'll leave that for the moment. So this is a bullish sign. It's crossed over on the daily around about the 9,521 level. This is when you would have got in when it crossed over, and you'd have still been in that just now if you'd stayed in just using the daily chart. If you'd used the 4-hourly chart as well to exit, you would have been out probably around about here, 11,170, for a good gain of round about, just kind of measure that, around about 20%. Fundamentally, I don't know too much about Nano, if I'm being really honest, so I can't say what it's like fundamentally. This is a 4-hour structure for this kind of triangle, the descending triangle we're looking at. So normally with a descending triangle, it's a continuation of the pattern. If it breaks down below, so we're going to get a continuation of that pattern, kind of going to the downside just now. But what I find with descending triangles, a lot of the time it breaks out and we kind of shoot up and we go back up to previous levels, which would be 35,000, which could be a 200% gain from here as well if it breaks out of this triangle. So to me that is bullish for Nano at the moment, short term. Fundamentally I don't know too much about it, so I can't say too much. Okay, next one is Neo BTC. Neo is just crossing down. The 70 EMA is crossing down over the 50 EMA, which is a bearish sign for me just now. It did go up, it crossed up at 92,000 Satoshi and it went up to 153,000. But it's coming back down now, and it looks as if, and this is tied to China. You have to remember the fundamentals of this is tied to China. So the good news, when good news comes out about China being in the blockchain and being cryptocurrency, Neo's going to do well. This is when the good news came out, around about 24th of October, came out about China, and it kind of shot up. We'll just see what kind of how far that shot up from the crossover. 67%. So you have to kind of look at and think about the fundamentals as well. It's not just about TA. You cannot do predict what's going to happen, but fundamentals can really drive the prices as well. So at the moment it's bearish just now for NEO. We'll just have a look in the 4-hourly chart. Yeah, it's crossed down over here at 140,000 Satoshi, and it's not climbed back up over this yet. So there wouldn't be an entry point at the moment for NEO. So long term, I think NEO is going to do well. NEO 3.0 is looking good for 2020 as well. So I think NEO is going to last, and especially when news comes out from China that they're going to adopt blockchain and cryptocurrencies more and more, I think it's going to be even better for NEO as well. So that's NEO. Short term not good, long term I think is good, but according to the charts, not a good entry point for NEO just now. Okay, Digitex futures. We'll look at the Bitcoin price again, and we'll go to the daily for this. So they're coming out with a brand new exchange, a futures exchange, which I've had a chance to beta test as well, and it's okay. It's okay. It's nice and simple. I think they need a lot more features, but it's nice and simple at the moment. But what is it according to the charts? Okay, you can see up in April they were up at 2,784. This was on kind of the hype of bringing out the exchange. Then a lot of things kind of went wrong, but Adam has pulled it back, or seems to have pulled it back, and he's back on track again, and with another company building out the exchange for him. This is why you have to look at fundamentals so you know what's going on. At the moment, 556 Satoshi on the daily. It's crossed over on the daily. Recently on the 9th of November at 471, it did get up to 854. So this could be a good level to buy in on. And again, we'll go with the fundamentals and put a kind of baseline in. So it's quite a distance away from the baseline at 305. So we've got a couple of touch points here for 305. So it's quite a distance away from that. And then we're going to put our, this is the next resistance line. And the next resistance line up after that is quite there, 915. So this could potentially get about 80-90% in the short term, and probably longer once they bring out the exchange. So I'm going to put the next resistance here. So you've got a potential here for Digitex of around 208%. And that's kind of conservative. When they bring out the exchange, if and when they bring out the exchange and it's fully functional and people are using it, they onboard the users, they're beta testing it just now. But at the moment is a good buy here. And we're going to look at something called, I'm just going to show you just now, risk to reward ratio. So this is a price at the moment, and we wouldn't want to kind of go below this price, just 22%. That's too much of a risk. So I'm going to put the baseline here at 5.16%, and that's because it spiked down to here back on the 1st of December, and 19th of November it kind of went up that price. So it looks as if it's coming down just now. Risk to reward ratio, if you're going to enter at these prices, and I wouldn't at the moment because the daily is coming down over, I wouldn't at the moment, but risk to reward, you risk 5%, potentially gaining 32% to get to the next resistance level. Again, we'll come down on the 4-hourly and I'll show you more about this risk to reward. So you can see here, this is the kind of line we're looking at on the 1st of December. We don't want to, if it kind of spikes down below that line again, we'll just put a stop just outside that, risking 5%. The 4-hourly, it doesn't look good on the 4-hourly either. So for me, I wouldn't be entering, but if you're looking to risk it, then you could risk 5%, potentially gain 32%. But to me, there's not an entry there just now, and I suspect there's going to be a lot of action in Digitex very soon before the end of the year. And again, you have to look at the fundamentals of this as well. This could potentially be explosive, but it could potentially go to zero as well if nothing happens with the exchange. So I hope that helps. I know that's been a long video. The other videos I'll be doing for the when I ask you what chart you want me to look at, they'll be much quicker, but I'll teach you kind of technical analysis along the way as well. Okay, until next time, namaste, take care, bye now.